without wasting much time, I think we can actually start. Right. So the most important thing when it comes to your analysis, that you can actually look at, especially if ever you are still in the, I said, beginning phases of your learning, especially if you are still trying to master how things are going about on the charts and everything. The most important thing, if ever you're beginning your analysis, is always to have a background check into your DXY, which which is basically your dollar index, which basically shows you the strength of the dollar compared to the majority of the other major pairs. So starting with that, if ever you're still perfecting your art, it will help you to even minimize the um a lot of pressure even on other pairs that you might not be having clarity on. It can even help you on that as well to even it also helps even when it comes to news events, when it comes to trading news events and all that. The dollar index, it will just give you that overall direction of even your news. You can even get it straight away from the dollar index without having to obviously, you can do the individual pair analysis, whereby if you trade USD, you can go to USD, blah, blah, blah. But itself, the dollar index would have given you that overall idea of what to look out for before even the event happens. So looking at the dollar index, I think I've been speaking about it for a long time, and I told you that here we shifted structure to the upside right here. So having shifted structure to the upside like that, we actually are pushing forward to the upside for a while, for a very, very, very long while. And here our current short-term target is simply this one, right? That's our current short-term target there on the dollar index, which is basically here, right? So this is our first short-term target currently. Once it takes out that, we are obviously looking forward to that major target up there at the top. If I go to the monthly, what will happen according to the monthly is just a continuation of these bullish monthly candles to the upside. So in the sense that here we have this candle, we have that candle, that is high, that's a low, that's a high, that's a low. So in this case already, I can even show you that the dollar index for this particular month is basically bullish for the month of what? For the month of May, and even as we enter the next month as well. So ultimately, this is the ultimate target for the year. That's why I even said for the rest of this year, most probably we're looking forward to the dollar pushing all the way bullishly, actually. So here, what I'm basically anticipating, because this candle is almost 20 days to close, I'm basically anticipating it to close even bullish above there. Once it closes bullish, then we have maybe another second one there, something like this. Let me just do a simple example of what I'm looking forward to on the dollar index for the next coming months, actually, even for this month as well as the next coming months, because that's a very important thing for you to know and understand. Why is it important for you to know and understand that? Because it can help you to maximize on most of these trade setups. I've seen people entering trades, coming out after 1 minute, after 5 minutes. That's not really, according to me and my understanding and exposure that I have on the markets so far, I can safely tell you that it's not necessary for someone to enter a trade and exit after 5 minutes, while it's that same trade is going to keep on pushing in your favor for the next, I don't know, even 1 hour, even 4 hours, or for the next day. And yet someone you see people entering trades for 1 minute, 5 minutes, then they exit. It's not necessary. It's actually a sign of lack of understanding, because if ever you had proper understanding, you're basically going to maximize fully on that. You're basically going to maximize on that. I want to put it in the middle. I don't know why it's not allowing me to put it in the middle, but it's fine. That's not the point. Right. So you having the overall bias of our dollar index as well as even your main pairs that you trade, it helps you to know which particular direction are we headed with the dollar, and also which particular direction are my other pairs most likely going to major and push towards for this whole month and even the next coming months as well. So for the next coming months, for this whole month, I'm actually saying for this month we are here, right? This candle I'm anticipating it to close bullish. Obviously, still have 20 good days there. I'm expecting it to push and even break this previous high and even take out that break of structure there. That's what I'm expecting. So overall, we're not even expecting it to go beyond or below these levels that are this high and even this low here. So that's of which, if you notice, even if it was a pullback, that pullback is already covered almost above the 50% range of that pullback. So that's why most likely now we're anticipating it to shoot up to the upside. So you knowing this, I can even tell you what your CPI, which is coming, I think, when is it? Is it Wednesday? When is CPI? All those major events that are coming, CPI, PPI, FOMC, all those major events that are coming, you can even have a rough idea of mostly what to expect out of them before even the day comes, right? You even have a rough idea of what to expect from them. Let me just double check here. When is CPI? Is it Wednesday? Okay, let me just check. When is it? 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 Okay, but so the main point and the main idea is all the major events that are coming, your CPI, your PPI, let me see. I think some of you already CPI on Wednesday, right? Tuesday and Wednesday. Beautiful. After CPI, we also have PPI. After PPI, we also have FOMC. So all those news events that are coming, they are news events that you can even have an idea of what most likely they are going to perform. What's most likely going to be their outcome. You can even have an idea simply by you analyzing the behavior of the DXY, analyzing the structure of your dollar index. So, yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. It's actually on, yeah, there's there on Tuesday. I see Tuesday, yeah, first two, yeah. Then we have PPI as well. Yeah, yeah, it's there. Right, right. I see it. I see it. I see it. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have good news there. Good fundamental news on Tuesday and Wednesday. With some good. I can safely say almost the whole week that is coming, we have some major moves that are going to happen, especially on our dollar pairs that have to do with the dollar, because you actually see what I'm talking about is I'll continue. So without wasting much, so here this is what I'm anticipating for the dollar index. For this month, I'm anticipating it to close bullish, to continue. Yes, here we are still bullish, to continue bullish, close bullish, and even the next month, bullish, bullish, bullish. So you discover that May, June, July, August, September, October, November, even December for the rest. So all the other months, what it can do, maybe here, maybe it can even once it's cleared that high, if it wants to do a pullback, can do a pullback, but within the high and the low of that month, not taking out that low. So that's the only thing that can happen. But one thing that I know, once they've fully finished this turning point like this, one definite thing that you must know is that momentum, because all they do, it's a similar thing to here. It's a similar thing to this level here and also this level here, right? So here they went up, came down, right? As they came down, then they went up. Same thing here, they went up, came down, went up, came down. They were still playing around in this region. After that, then they shot up like that. Same thing here. Structure was still bullish. They broke structure. They came back to this level to mitigate obviously that demand, right? Which is something like this, whereby they shift up. They do a pullback like this, do a pullback to the downside. They go up, they shift like here to the upside. Then they come back like this. They come back like this. Then after the comeback, definitely the next major move that you must always anticipate is an impulse move to the upside. So that's why I'm saying most likely the candles that are going to come for the next following months, most likely there will be very strong to the buying side of things, or very strong to the upside, due to what has already happened. If ever the market had not yet shifted to the upside, that's when we would have said, they can still play around. If ever they had not shifted here, we can say, they can still play around, change after, even after the change, they can even come back and still play around. So that has already happened, and now the only thing now left is to now go and take and break our structure to the upside there. So that's the major idea for this year on the dollar index. You see, even as I go to all our dollar pairs, mostly I will just look at the main major dollar pairs that I trade, and also that some of them that we give signals on. We'll look mainly on those, so that you also see even some of the major projections that we have even for this year, for the rest of this month, for the rest of the year that we have left. You see that it's actually the opposite of what the dollar index was saying. We're expecting it to be bullish. So you see USD, we're expecting a major sales, NASDAQ major sales, gold, we're also anticipating major sales. Same thing, GU major sales, EU major sales. So all of those, they're actually in confluence to even this idea that we have on the DXY. So without wasting much time, so for this month, we are here on the DXY and we're anticipating to close bullish. So already, somehow, CPI on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the news events that are coming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, we already have an idea of mainly how they are going to behave. Obviously, day before the news, obviously, you just need to be aware of the structure, how the structure is appearing, blah, blah, blah. But the main idea is for you to understand how your DXY will be performing and behaving like that. So yeah, already this is the level that we are currently looking forward to the market to break up there. Here to the downside, we're not expecting them to take out this. I can even put it here. We're not expecting them to take out that low. Already they've done a pullback, which is even more than 50% of the entire move to the downside, which is actually a confirmation that most likely now we are. So yeah, if you put a Fibonacci from the bottom to the top, you literally realize that already they've done a major pullback there. Right. So after having said that, this week, which you are entering, we're expecting this weekly candle to close bullish, open bullish, as well as continue being bullish, and even close bullish at the end of the week. Same thing with the next other week. Roughly, I can even say the whole of May, we're basically anticipating serious bullish momentum to the upside on the dollar index. So if I go to the daily, I can just go for extra confluence there. So here the level is here. And just put it there. Then the high is there. This is the range that we are basically looking forward to or playing around in currently. And we're anticipating the market to end up bullish. So here, just looking at this daily structure already, I can see that there are signs that this market is already shifted to the upside. There are bullish signs that are there. There are also still signs that they can still push further into this region here, because that region, they didn't tap it, that demand here or this order block here. They haven't tapped it as yet. So we still have also room to even touch there, then fly to the upside like this, according to the daily time frame. So let me go to the 4-hour or 8-hour. Let me see if there is anything else to talk about there. So this is the level. That's the level there, like this. Right. So this is our level on the 4-hour time frame, right? So here they've actually shifted to the downside by taking out that low, etc., etc. So here they can even come back here, drop from there, drop from this region here into that level there. So depending on where they are going to be now on Wednesday, where we are going to have our CPI there, depending on where they are going to be. So if Wednesday comes and we are here in this region, most likely our CPI will be bullish. If we get to Wednesday and we are in this demand level or this level that we have, which is this main order block here, most likely we're going to be bullish on our CPI as well as our PPI. Even our FOMC, it might most likely it might actually be just a continuation, bullish continuation to the upside. So it's just a matter of us knowing how our week opens, how our week starts, and how it progresses, how Monday goes, how Tuesday goes. If Monday and Tuesday comes and it's still playing around there, it can even CPI might then push that into this level, might just push the market into that level before we go up like that. So this is what we currently have there on the dollar index. Nothing much to really add on there. Nothing much to really add on there. Nothing much to really add on. I can just refine even the 4 hour, I can refine it to this zone here, like this. So I can just do this and then do this. Right. So here, what I like here is that already we have this bearish structure to the downside. For those that don't know, that might not be aware of how to read structure. That's a leg there. That's a higher high to my left, which is this one. It's a higher high. This is a higher low. And there, that's my higher high. So we are still bullish. Inside here, this is all a pullback. In order to facilitate that pullback, they have to maintain bearish market structure or bearish order flow, whichever way you want to call it, but it's the one and the same thing. So they came down, came back up, down, up. So yeah, we're expecting a down before and up. All of these are things that are calculated. These are not just things that you just come and start to draw a down, up, down, up, down, up without knowing what you are really doing. These are all calculated things. So already here you can see we are bullish. This is our range, our bullish range. These two black lines. That's my current range that I'm focusing on the DXY. So all of this is a pullback that has been happening inside there. And here, once we open, I'm just anticipating it to give this push, then drop like that, drop like that, drop like that, drop like that. So the dollar index, I'll just end here on the 4 hour, nothing much. No reason for us to even go to the 1 hour, blah, blah, blah. All of that is it's unnecessary. So this is mainly how our DXY is looking. Roughly, it's going to just sell into this region overall to buy. Overall, we are looking forward to the bullish side of things. So it means if ever our main move, obviously this is just a continuation of this short move to the downside, but our main move will be this bullish movement to the upside, which is also going to which you're also going to see on the dollar pairs, that the main moves of most of our dollar pairs, like the ones that are indirectly associated with the DXY, those ones, they will basically, the main move there will be the sells, the sells, the sells are mainly for those ones. So for the DXY, this is what we're looking forward to. Serious. Here we're just selling into this region, then overall we buy. So the rest of May, it can basically be the buying side of things on the DXY. Right. Once you have an understanding of how your dollar index is looking, that's when you can now start to look at your pairs now. That's when you can now start to look at your pairs and now start to do an analysis and everything. So US30, I have an analysis already, but let me just remove it so that I show you now the correlation that is there of what you saw on the DXY and what you're also going to see on US30, how it's actually connected. Obviously, it's indirectly connected because the US state is in indirect proportion to the DXY. So that was a major break of structure. After breaking that structure, I can see here they tapped that demand here. Internal structure, this is our demand for that internal structure. So here, according to this simple structure, if I'm going to just show you something, that's a high, that's a low, that's a high, that's a low, then that's a high, a higher high, higher low, higher low, higher high there, because we have done this shift to the downside. Same way, this one is a, so for someone who might not know and understand some of these things, why and even if you have been following me for a while, you hear even when I describe some of your terminologies that people have been complicating to you, like your inducement and whatever. When I describe it, if you ask me, I can even tell you that it's simply the creation of a new leg or the beginning of a pullback, actually. So I can describe it in that way because that's what it is. It's not even as complicated as what people make it appear. So here, they actually took out the law, same way they took out this law. So when they took out that law here, if I'm just going to mark some structure, that's a higher high here. Obviously, this is internal structure. External structure here, your external structure, this is your external swing. Your swing higher high is this one. Your swing higher low is this one. This one is your internal structure. So what they've done, what they've literally done here is to create this as an internal structure, higher high. And now we are our first major move that we expect is always that internal pullback into this internal structure. If it continues and changes this internal structure, most likely now they will be coming maybe to test some levels down there. Some levels down there. They might not break it, but then now change overlay and do something like this. Right? So if they do this now, that leg, it will no longer just be an internal structure higher high, but it will actually be a swing higher high. So for US 30, now our main bias right now is bearish. That's why for this week that we're entering, I want your focus on US 30, your focus on NASDAQ, let it be on the selling side of things. Selling side of things. Wait for those confirmations. Once you get those confirmations, then you strike. And even after you strike, you don't need to jump out of those trades. You don't need to chicken out of trades. People who chicken out of trades are people basically who are trading without an understanding. When you trade without an understanding, when you trade without knowledge, you quickly come out even of good trades that could have even performed so well. You quickly exit them. So yeah, already we've shifted down and we had this pullback here, and that pullback, looking at our range here from that high to the low here, that is our range. That is my current range there. I'm not anticipating this market to get out of this range. So this is my range for this week. For this week as well as this month, actually. It's for this week as well as this month. This is my range. On US 30, I'm just anticipating us to come out of this box. Even after I come out of that box, I'm anticipating it to push to this low as well as push to ultimately this level here. That's why for the rest of May, we're anticipating this candle here to close mostly down here, bearish. The next one also bearish, bearish, bearish up until we tap into this level. Then if it wants to keep on buying, it will keep on buying even from there up until it gets to wherever it wants to get. But if it takes out that level, most likely they'll be testing some levels down there. So already I'm even showing you the whole what to even focus on for the next for this month as well as even the next coming months. Your main focus will be on the bearish side of things on the US 30, which is actually also in agreement with what we just saw on the DXY. The DXY is simply going to be bullish. So our US 30, NASDAQ, gold, they're going to be doing the opposite side of things. So yeah, that's what we're going to be anticipating. So even if I go to the weekly, that's my range there that I marked, which is this whole box. I'll just leave it like this. That's my whole box. Let me just make it a little bit like this. All right. So that's my box here. This is basically my selling range here on US 30. This is my selling range. I'm anticipating to take good sales from the top there up until we exit this box. Even you don't hear from me. If you want to maximize things in this industry, you need knowledge. Honestly speaking, you need to know what's going on. I've seen, I'm not going to mention names, but I've seen people entering trades for 1 minute, exiting in 2 minutes, exiting in 5 minutes. Yet you see that that trade, it actually has the room, or it actually kept on going that direction, maybe for the whole day or even for days. But due to lack of understanding, due to a lack of knowledge, people, they actually settle for less on the market. When you lack knowledge, you actually even settle for less, even in real life. When you don't know, when you don't know what's happening, even in real life, you settle for peanuts. That's why you see people, they can actually be comfortable working on a job making those small monies every month because they lack knowledge. They don't know even what's really going on in the current world today. What are people doing to make money for themselves, even without having to go for a job? They don't know. It's a lack of knowledge, so they can even easily settle for those peanuts that they'll be getting. So yeah, what I like is that already we have already pulled back into the extremities of this move, which is in that supply area that the market is, that weekly supply area that the market is actually tapped. That's a very, very sensitive zone for USD. That's why you heard me correctly when I said for this week, your main focus on USD, let it be on selling. You see someone trying to buy while the market is in a supply area in an order block in a level like that, you see someone still buying like that. That's how you know that people they are people they don't really know what they are doing. Honestly speaking, you come to trading, but you don't even know what's really going on. So there, where it has tapped, it's a very sensitive region. So it's actually a swing trade. Institutions, even how they trade there, even the big players I'm talking about, even big people who even invest serious monies on the market, they can even sell US 30 there, put their stop loss maybe slightly above there, and they can even hold this trade up until structure shifts. So if structure comes in this, even in this demand then doesn't shift, they'll even hold it further because most likely it can even come to that one. So there are people who actually trade like that. Obviously, those people, because they can even pump in millions, they can actually enter those crazy lot sizes up there. By the time that market gets to maybe this level, that level, they would have even 10x, 20x, 50x those millions, whatever, which is a huge return according to them. They don't necessarily need to. That's what we call position trading. It's deeper than swing trading. Swing trading, yes, you can actually hold a trade for weeks. You can even hold a trade for a month or even 2 months. But it's when compared to position trading, basically those ones they can even go for a year just holding onto one position, just monitoring maybe even once a week or sometimes even once a month just to see how the structure is still is. That one is for people mainly who are not actively involved on a day-to-day basis on the chart. People who have other things that they are doing in their lives. So that's how they are basically ended their trades. But you now, as a retail trader, obviously you might not have all those. Some of you might not have those crazy numbers as yet. I'm I'm the reason why I'm mentioning this issue of position trading. Someone might ask, why are you talking about position trading while it's while it's you're talking to retail traders? Yes, it's actually helpful because they're actually retail traders that even can actually trade at the level of position trading. Because let's say, for example, let's say you have even let's say you have a million rand, for example, a million rand, which is roughly 50 to $60,000, roughly, for example. You can even afford, even someone is at $10,000, they can even afford to enter this trade just by looking at this structure here. Obviously, they might not enter a crazy lot size. They can just enter a reasonable lot size, blah, blah, afford to put their risk, blah, blah, whatever, stop loss somewhere above there. Then they just monitor how it will be performing, blah, blah. So I'm even preparing you for that level once you get to that level as well. You don't need to necessarily go to 1 minute. Hey, I want to see the 1 minute changing, then I'll enter. No, that's not it's not necessary. It's not necessarily necessary once you get to a certain level in your trading career. So it's only necessary if ever you are still playing it small, if ever you're still trading those small monies. Yeah, there it's necessary because you're trying to simply protect your capital, that one that you have, that would you have put, so that you're not taken out of a position even while the market is still going to go as you're actually anticipating. So this is my range, my main selling range for this whole week on US 30. One thing that I can promise you, that I can guarantee, is that this week you'll see by the time because we have so many news this week, this market might actually break out of this range just this week. Yes, last week there was nothing much, nothing crazy. That's why even these daily candles, they were not even that deep. There was nothing serious. Mainly, all that you were doing last week on US 30, all that you could have been doing was simply to come identify your daily candle, the high and the low, blah blah. You identify the shit on the lower time frame, catch that trade. Once you catch that trade, you hold it as far as maybe that supply area is concerned, uh, on the weekly as well as this daily fair value gap that I marked there. So here it has tapped most of the sensitive areas, both on the daily as well as on the weekly. So the only thing left for US 30 to do is maybe just to shift your lower time frame structure, whether your 4 hour, your 1 hour, something like that, for it to shift bearish. Once it shifts bearish, then it can actually start to drop. There's no other region that I'm anticipating to go beyond this level here. That's why I'm saying this week, start your week with that focus. Don't even waste time thinking of buying. It's not even time to be buying. The only time you're supposed to be thinking of buying was when we were down here, as well as even along the way here before we tapped that supply area. Those are the moments that your focus was supposed to be on buying. I remember I even gave the setup for the buy before it even got there. We spoke about it. I think the market was even down here. Even before this upside shift, I spoke about it before it even happened. If you have been consistently following, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, this is the downside shift that they did here. They shifted straight to downside. So yeah, this bottom, which is this leg here, that's where we're anticipating them to come and break structure there. So this is my whole entire analysis. I can even, okay, let me just remove this. Let me just put this level here, which is basically our target for this week. If you're going to trade US 30 this week, let that be your target. After that target is hit, that's when you can even anticipate some form of a pullback before they continue, because they'll basically be flowing like that up until they get to where they want to get, which is somewhere around there. So the target for this week, it's actually this one. That's the target for this week on US 30. You will see someone, they enter a trade on 1 minute, 5 minutes, they catch those few pips, and already they are jumping. Hey, guys, honestly speaking, realistically speaking, professionally speaking, you are not yet a trader, according to me, according to even institutional understanding, according to professionalism in trading. You're not yet a trader if you are trading that way, whereby you enter. It's like somewhere, somehow, unconsciously, it's like you are scared that the market will not keep on going where you said it will go. And the reason why you are scared is because you don't know what causes the market to keep on going in a certain direction. And it's also because you don't know what moves the market to go up or down. You don't know. It's actually a sign of a lack of knowledge and understanding on the chart. So here, that was the upside shift. And here, this was just a pullback into this level here. And that was actually a swing buys that you could have easily caught. I I I even spoke about this shift before it even happened. It was actually here. If you remember, if you scroll back to our previous videos of analysis or whatever, you basically see what I'm talking about. This shift, it was actually below here. Then I said it will shift. After it shifts, then it will give you this pullback. I remember even in the VIP, was it in the VIP where we took this downward sells? I also gave the, what do you call? I also gave the sell even live on YouTube, whereby we were on that level. Then I said once we shift to the downside, it was actually in April, actually. Yeah, this sell there. So it sold into this demand where you could have easily caught these swing buys. Entering there, your first target is always this previous level, but ultimately you're targeting there. So the same thing that I showed you, whereby once they've done this, they'll just maintain that structure up until they get where they want to get, then they change like that. So even there, they can even do something like this as well, right? They can do They can even give a simple shift, but they won't keep on doing those shifts. People, they think the market. So the purpose of even them playing around like this, they'll be playing around to even sometimes make other people to change their bias. If ever your bias was on sales, someone might even change their idea, say, this thing I think is buying, then you buy. And the minute you buy, they'll definitely. So they most of the times they might not necessarily, yes, there is a potential of them just dropping straight away, but most of the times they can even prolong the drop, right? But even in the prolonging, once they tap this supply area that I marked on the 8 hour, there it's actually a good zone for you to just there you can even go to 15 minute, 30 minute. Once you see that downside shift, then you can even take sales from there. You don't need to necessarily wait for the entire structure shift, for the entire new structure that they'll develop, whatever. Once you enter those initial positions there, all you now just do is to you scale in more trades upon new structure formation to the downside. So US 30, I think I've actually exhausted everything that you must actually be looking out for this coming week. Everything that you must actually be looking out for this coming week. These are very easy trades. This sell here, very, very easy trades. This sell here into this demand, into this level here. Even if you exited here in this leg, you can still profit, but it came back again. So there, even that shift again, it also gave you sells again there to the downside. So all of these trades were very, very easy trades. Even this buy, so very, very easy buy. Even if you go to 2 hour or 1 hour, there's no need to necessarily go to 1 minute. It's not necessarily necessary, especially if you know that you're going to be in the trade for a very long time and everything. It's not necessary to go there 1 minute. I want to see 1 minute changing. Hey, no. I'm already seeing sales on yesterday. I don't think it will go further. No, it's not about thinking now. It's about it's about you looking at all the angles now. One approach that you must always use when you're trading is always using an approach whereby you're not fighting the market to prove whether you're right or wrong, right? If you use the approach of fighting whereby you want to prove the point to the market, it's not necessary to use that approach because at the end of the day, these guys that are even moving the price on the market, they don't even care about your little monies that you guys are trading. So that's why I'm saying here, the potential of coming there is there. Someone who is saying, yeah, I'm already seeing sales. The structure here on the 4 hour, it hasn't changed to the downside. Just in case you don't know that. Here, this structure here, there is no change here to the downside. It's still bullish. I even saw some people selling on Friday. I told them, relax, slow down. This thing is still bullish. So there is still potential for them to push here. Once you fully see the shift to the downside, that's when you can say, I'm in. So it's not necessarily necessary to say, nah, it's now selling while it's even the confirmations there, they are not even there. Yes, we are seeing that it's in a selling range, but is it now ready for entry right now, like right now, immediately now? No, necessarily no. It's a big, big no. It doesn't happen. Structure shift to downside doesn't happen. So there's nothing to rush there. You need to breathe and slow down and relax and wait for the shift to happen. Then once it has happened, then you strike. So this is my whole entire analysis for your study for this coming week. Even once our news comes, I'm basically anticipating it to be just a continuation in this direction. Nothing crazy, but all that you need to understand about news is that news, number one, all it does, it generates volatility on the market. So it doesn't change direction and everything, just generates volatility. And that's all it does mainly. So, right. So that's it for yesterday. Nothing much to add onto that. Nothing much to subtract. NASDAQ, almost a similar idea. NASDAQ is almost a similar idea. Almost a similar idea. If you notice, I have an analysis already almost a similar thing to US 30 as well. Similar thing. Same similar thing because we have done a shift to the downside. So our current range, basically, we are still looking at the same, almost a similar range to what we have on US 30 for this month, as well as we're looking at that high and this low here. That's our range where we're anticipating them to break outside of that range for this week as well as this month. So if I go to the daily, I'm just looking at that range like that. Uh, Looking at this range. We actually did a pullback to the upside, which we're actually anticipating, which we actually spoke about that. We actually took buys on NASDAQ from the bottom there. We did a shift down there. We actually took buys on NASDAQ, even in the VIP group there. We took some buys and all we managed to do, personally, I'm even still in the buys. I'm even still holding the buys that we took from down there because we don't necessarily close trades. It's felt trades that you know that they're going to still keep pushing in our direction, in our favor. We don't necessarily close them. All we do, we just either we shift stop loss to break even or we just lock profits as it goes. So after this pullback, all you were just supposed to be doing was to be locking profits as these new lows were being created there. You're just supposed to be locking profits on those levels there. Some of the analysis that I see people doing on YouTube, hey, some of them they are so painful to watch because you actually see how the level of ignorance that people have is serious. The amount of things that people don't even know, the amount of complication that you see people putting on the chart is unnecessary. It's all coming from the lack of knowledge and understanding that people will basically be having. So that was the shift. Then they came back. You would have bought there, even when they broke, they came back again. So they actually gave you two chances there. This one is the as well as that one as they came back again. So that chance and that chance you would have bought. So yeah, after you were just following that small internal structure there. So yeah, up there, I have that mini minor uh level that I have there where they can still push further and touch, which they can still push further and touch because here looking at this structure here on the 8 hour, they haven't necessarily shifted to the downside. So they haven't done any shifts to the downside. They can still push there before they drop. Once they fully shift, we are also taking major sells there from that top up until we get to this bottom. One thing that you have to actually notice that you actually need to study and analyze is you will see that most of your guys they might give you a sell, uh, then make you exit that sell even earlier before it even gets down here because of a lack of understanding, whereby themselves they won't even be sure how far that thing was going to sell and whatever. Because they don't know. There's no way you can give what you don't have. There's no way you can tell people what you don't know. So you must actually be so they haven't changed anything then. They haven't changed anything per se. They can still push into that level. So NASDAQ, let's just look forward for that push before they drop here. So if they do shift here, if they properly shift to downside, you can even sell. But one thing that I'm anticipating is this. So NASDAQ, that's it. But it's actually in our selling region, or it's actually in our major selling region, the same way with US 30. And those sales hold them all the way for the week. We'll actually have another session during the week. I think we'll actually try to have some what do you call this? Some live sessions so that you can even trace or track the market as it will be flowing in our direction so that you see that there is nothing to even be anxious about, especially when you enter a trade that you know that it's actually going to move in my favor for a very long time. So gold now on gold now quite it's quite not fully similar that, but the idea is one and the same thing, whereby here with this high and this low on the monthly, the difference now between gold and USD and NAS is that USD and NAS, they've already changed already now to the downside, right? And gold is still yet to change to the downside. Even after it changes to the downside, it can even tap that demand, give you another pullback before the overall continuation to the downside. Maybe they will be coming for this demand for the overall continuation to the upside. So gold, the idea is this, right? But before we even anticipate all of that, here we haven't taken out that level here. We haven't taken out that level to the downside. So all you just need to do now is identify your lower time frames properly and see if ever there is a shift already. Because if it's there, it now means that this monthly candle, ultimately at the end of the month, it might actually end up closing also bearish. Right. So looking at the weekly. At the weekly, I like that we've kind of actually shifted to the downside. We have actually shifted to the downside right there. Right there on the weekly. Let me actually put this. Okay, let me put this here. We have kind of actually shifted to the downside. We actually shifted to the downside. That's a high, that's a low. And here, these candles, they actually seem like they closed below. Even if I go to the daily, you literally see that they most likely closed below. So all you just need on gold before you jump into any unnecessary trades, you just need to wait for that solid confirmation for sales before you quickly rush into any position. Right. So yeah, on the daily, let me just put this down here. On the daily, looking at gold from the daily to the left here, we literally have something like a shift to the downside. Then here we also shifted to the upside. Right. So the only thing left now for main sales on gold is getting a proper shift to the downside where it's actually coming there. Right. Then if you go to the 4-hour, our supply area is here where gold is actually tapped. So from there, if all goes well, it can actually drop from there. If all actually goes well, if ever it actually shifts nicely to the downside there, most likely I'm looking at it to shift right there. Something like that, maybe give us a pullback before continuing, something like that, something like playing around in that region before they come to that level. So that shift is also always fundamental. There are other people who are just so ignorant and they say that they'll just because you say this thing you're anticipating to sell, they just sell. You just sell from nowhere, like without without even any analysis on their chart. They just sell just because they had you say this we are anticipating to sell, this we're anticipating to sell. They just open their chart, then they sell. That's a high level of serious ignorance. High level of serious ignorance. So even last week, it actually gave us nice, beautiful buys to the upside. These were the first ones. Those first ones, I was actually anticipating them to come all the way there, but they didn't, which was even not a problem because even the shift to show us that they're now coming back, they literally did it actually here. So that was actually a sign that they're not coming to enter there. So then when they now did the reshift again, the upside, that was actually the beginning of new buys. Gave us this pullback. Even after that pullback, they did the reshift again to the upside. So in this region, you would have bought in that region, you would have also bought gold and held targeting this as well as that area there. So gold for last week, it wasn't even complicated. It wasn't even a complicated doesn't even a complicated thing. So yeah, they did a shift, then they came, did a pullback, shifted again. So all of those shifts that were so many there were actually the confluence that you just needed for you to buy. Right there, stop loss below, like that. Then even if you followed structure, you see that they never changed structure up until they even hit that level there. So on the 1 hour, On the 2 hour, I mean, we sort of like have the first shift internally, which is good. So if they now continue with this shift now, it's a double confirmation because 4 hour once it fully confirms, we can actually get our nice push to the downside without any hesitation. So that's also something that we are looking forward to. So gold, you can still also, if you're not in already, because there are other some of our students, they literally even sold already because we had shared the setup that once we get there, we are looking forward to sales. So some they're actually in the sales already, which is not a problem. All they can do is literally protect those positions. Then once new structure forms, they can just be scaling in or locking profits for those old trades. Are we together? Are we together? Are we together?
Yeah,
Are we together?
of course, brother.
We are together.
Wonderful. Right. So
Yeah, we
let's
are
look at
together.
a few more pairs. Let's look at a few more pairs. The ones that mainly that are dollar related. Let's look at GU. Let's look at EU. Maybe if we have time, we'll look at AU and AU. I'm actually in some serious sales already. I'll show you why I'm in sales there. It's also a good swing trade that you can actually take this coming week. If also you just want those beautiful swing trades, AU actually has a beautiful swing sell. Personally, I'm in already. I had not yet I didn't get time to give the signal on Friday, but it's basically in the region. Most of the confirmations that I needed to see, they've happened. So it's actually also a very good swing sell as well. So we'll look into that. Let's look at GU and see what we can actually benefit from GU as well. GU, just looking at the monthly like this, obviously broke structure down. Then here we're targeting take out this law. Then they did an upside shift. Then they did a downside shift. So them doing a downside shift and then coming back, pulling back there and actually doing a shift again to the downside. They literally confirmed that we're going to have those swing sales to downside. So almost the same similar thing that I showed you on the DXY. Here we're going to expect something like this, something like this, like this. This is just an example. I'm not saying this is how they will appear, but it's just an example of what we'll be looking forward to on GBPUSD for the next even coming months, not only this month, but even the next coming months on GBPUSD. This is what I'm actually anticipating, serious drops to the downside there that you can actually maximize on and hold just like that. So looking at the weekly, we did a shift to the downside, and then we got our pullback. That was a shift, change of structure, change of character to the downside. Then here we have this break of structure that we're anticipating here. So we are expecting to push and break that structure. So GU, also the main idea, the main focus is basically also on the selling side of things. Both to take this out as well as ultimately our main major target for the whole. I can say for the whole month as well as even the next coming months. That's That's what you'll be looking for on GU. There they touch the supply there. Here they also touch that supply there. So there's literally no solid reason to fully right. So this is it. This is it already. We have these drops to the downside, and those drops we expect them to keep on maintaining that bearish structure to the downside because they've mitigated already most of the supply areas up there. So just expect a continuation of sales. So yeah, my range on GU is basically this high here and this new low or even this new low here. This is my selling range on GBPUSD. So I'm expecting to sell within this range. So all these buys that were happening were just a pullback, which you could have even bought, yes, but actually being aware at the back of your mind that I'm trading a pullback. So you see here on the daily, the level is even straightforward. I can even mark the bodies of the block. I can even mark the body. Let me put on the body. Even if you put on the tail, you see they didn't touch. So you can just put on the body like this. That's my supply area. That's my order block there. My extreme one at the end of the day. My extreme one actually. So GU as well for this coming week. The main focus is the sales. Obviously, for them to sell, they most likely we're anticipating them to first tap that region there, right? First tap that region, then drop from there. But that's the main idea, and we're actually anticipating to hold up until we get there. All those things that you have heard, blah blah trend line, those are I can safely say unnecessary noise. When someone is still maturing in terms of understanding, there are things that you include on the charts that are not necessarily necessary. Yes, they might give you a hint of what might happen, but they won't be necessarily necessary whenever we're now looking at the um, maturity aspect of things. So yeah, according to the daily now, they are still bullish. They're still bullish. That's a high. That's a low. That's a low. That's a high. That's a low. That's a high. That's a low. That's a high. That's a low. My last low is here. My last high is there. Where there. So they still they just played. If you check last week, they just played within a range, which is this range here. Which when the market opens this coming week, I'm expecting them to break out like this, then drop. That's why you see even in my VIP group there, we actually took some buys. Was it Wednesday or was it Thursday or Friday? Somewhere around there, we actually took some buys on this zone here. Personally, I'm still in the buys. Even you can even still take also the buys because here the daily has actually confirmed that we are bullish inside there by what has happened there. So they've actually confirmed. So it's actually a good, easy buy to sell basically. Buy to sell basically. That's what you're looking forward to. On GPSD, that's the main structure, main analysis. All these drawings that people talk about, trend lines, what. Those are, it's not necessarily necessary. Yes, I can come now. Draw this, draw that. I can come and do all of this, but at the end of the day, it's not necessary for me to see for me to see the structure of the market where it is. I don't need to draw these things, right? We can literally see that we're bearish. It's as clear as day. Even a blind man can see that. Even a blind man can see that we are bearish. So it's not, yes, there is an advantage or an added confluence that you can just put, but it's not something that you can say uh, you are basically starting your analysis from there. So that's why that level, it actually also has a confluence, even that level that we're anticipating to sell, because it's also on a level, which is this trend line that we have there, as well as that supply area there. So it's a double confluence. There are a lot of confluences that are supporting that. So it's a good selling zone, that one. That's why that's why I say this week we are going to have very beautiful major moves on most of our pairs. Last week, it was okay. Last of last week, we actually made good money. Even the last of last week, also made good money because that's where some of these moves, these pullback moves, that's where they're actually beginning and all that. So last week, it was just this week that we just came out of. It was just a continuation of holding those moves that we had taken the previous week in the VIP there. So this is the main analysis for GU for this coming week. So here we've confirmed already that we're still going to push up. So even if you go to the 4 hour, we are still overly pushing bullish. We are still bullish, even if you mark your legs. Even if you mark your legs, that's a higher low, that's a higher high, that's a higher high here, and this is a higher low. This was just a liquidity sweep that happened. If you understand that a liquidity sweep is just them coming to wipe out stop losses that they know that people would have put some stop losses below a support, right? If ever there's a support area like this, so they buy and they put the stop loss below. So this was a sweep to wipe out all those people. So once they are wiped out, then the market can now go where it initially wanted to go. So this is my structure, my current structure on GU. Still bullish, and I'm currently also still holding those buys that we took on this level here, and we're actually in profit. We're actually in profit. It's not even a thing to right. So there we are going to take swing sales there. So we have a lot of swing sales that are in the pipeline for this new week that is coming on most of our major pairs. We have a lot of swing pairs. That's why. So we are going to take a lot of swing pairs, but the good part about swing positions is that you can even hold those for a very long time in profit, actually. So GU still bullish, still bullish. I'm just anticipating the market to open on Monday, and we continue being bullish like this, as well as ultimately into that zone that we're anticipating. So GBPSD, that's it. I don't need to emphasize further. I've seen people doing all sorts of fun analyses and everything. It's not necessary. Once you build knowledge and understanding, most of those things, they're not necessary. Most of those things are not necessary. So yeah, someone even drew a trend line like this. They broke out and retest, broke out and retest. And then when the market comes, they sell, and as they sell, this market does something crazy to them, then it simply keeps on buying. Was the lack understanding the trend line was broken, but structure wasn't broken. Structure kept on being bullish. That's an understanding that those people don't have. So it takes understanding to really make it in this game. If you really want to make consistent profits without any limits, you really need understanding. Don't just follow people on YouTube. You watch a video on YouTube and you get excited. Uh, you jump around, you get excited, you see people drawing trend lines, you now think you have a strategy. You need understanding. You need understanding. You need serious understanding. I don't know how many times I've shown people. Those things, they are just bits and pieces of the truth. Those in the mentorship class, they actually know a lot about what I'm saying. Actually know more about what I'm saying, whereby they know that trend lines and all those things that you have heard about, they're just bits and pieces of the real truth, whereby people they're actually connecting bits and pieces of the real truth, so they can come and draw a trend line and tell you once the trend line is broken, you jump in. But if you look at the structure properly, it might not even be accommodating certain entries like those, blah blah, whatever. So it's just something else that people they still have to fully agree with, come into agreement with, and actually learn from it and move on. Right. So having said that, another thing that might also maybe happen before we just keep on, just in case we have maybe a pullback, maybe even around here, if we do get it, it can also give you good buys as well upon the shift there. That is if ever it comes there. If it comes there, if it comes to that level, you can even enter beautiful buys to the upside upon the shift to the upside on that zone. Like that. So GU, that's it. GU, that's it. EU, almost a similar thing to GU. Almost a similar thing to GU, because we are basically wanting to sell in that overall supply area at the top there, which is here, right? But before it gets there, obviously it goes on through buying. So yeah, I have, besides this trend line, these trend lines were just for formality here. Let me remove them so that you see that it's not the reason why we'll enter that trade there. So here we actually have a higher high, and this one is a higher low. So here we expect a pullback before a continuation, most likely. This green line and this bottom line. This is basically my range to the upside, my bullish range, basically. My bullish range to the upside where we're anticipating EU to buy within that region then. So here, all you just need to do is go to the 1 hour and you see that we have a beautiful demand level there that we can literally pull back into before we fly. So that's also a trade that you can partake on. You can even enter this buy on Euro USD on Monday. I believe by Monday, it will actually come into our level like that. So EU, that's it. Almost a similar thing to GU. Almost a similar thing to GU. Let me lastly look at AU. AU 8-hour time frame, we're bearish, block structure there, and splitting a break there. So we've came to the extreme, which is basically this lower high with a lower low there, lower low there. That was a lower low there, that was a lower high there. So here we now have this as a what? As a lower high. From there, we anticipate seeing sales to take out this lower low, right? It's a simple understanding. So us knowing that already, according to what I want to see, there has already happened. The shift that I want has happened both externally, which is here, so less internally. It happened there internally first, then they came back to pull back. So they've done almost most of the things that I look at before I jump in a position. They did the shift here, they dropped, came back up for a pullback, then they did a reshift there. So when I saw this on, was it Friday? Thursday or Friday? Thursday, yeah. Thursday, yeah, it was on Thursday. So that one, when they took out that, it was actually a confirmation that. So even if you want to enter, you can even, as the market opens on Monday, you can even sell, put your stop loss above this level. This one, you can even sell, put your stop loss above that level. Then you just hold on to that trade because it's actually a swing trade. On the 2 hour, it actually shifted right here. So they shifted to the downside, came back, mitigated, then they shifted to the downside here as well. So you can even sell on Monday here, stop loss above the region there. Then you hold on to that trade up until they take out these levels. So that's it for next week. That's all that we are looking forward to on our main pairs.
Mike, Michael, how